Let's also tell you that heightened security measures are in place across southwest Nigerian state in response to recent events as authorities have bolstered security around key government installations, aiming to prevent any attempts to disrupt law and order by groups pushing their agendas. Security agencies have issued stern warnings, emphasizing their resolve to clamp down on any form of insecurity. They caution individuals claiming affiliation with the Yoruba Nation's agitation to choose the path of peace or face the consequences. This announcement comes after an alarming incident on Saturday where separatist Yoruba Nation agitators made an audacious attempt to seize the Oyo State Government Secretariat in Ibadan. Reports indicate that the agitators, dressed in army camouflage and armed with rifles, sought to raise their flag at the Oyo State House of Assembly premises. However, swift action by security agencies led to the arrest of 20 individuals involved in the attempt. And joining me live to talk about this is a public affairs commentator, Jide Johnson. Good evening. Glad to have you join me.
Pleasure to be with you.
Let me start by asking your thoughts on Saturday's attempt to take over the Secretariat of Oyo State.
I think the perpetrators of that act were ill-informed, ill-advised by whoever is responsible for recruiting them to embark on such an exercise that will end up putting them in jail forever if it does not lead to their lives being taken as a result of consequence of what we have in our statutes and our law with respect to those that have committed treason and felony against the state. So as far as I'm concerned, I just want to borrow a leaf from what the former police commissioner of Lagos State said. He said probably these people were high on cheap drugs because no one in his right senses. Now, if you seize the secretariat, what next? That's the question that you need to ask. What next? What would be, okay, you raise the flag, you seize the secretariat, what next? What's the next level of action? Do you have control of the Oyo State government? Do you have control of the military formation? So I think they are ill-advised, and I think that this particular issue should be dealt with as quickly as possible, and those that are arrested should face the music, and the matter should be treated urgently with a dispatch, and so that it will serve as a deterrent for murderers from carrying out such act that is meant to bring about the nation into chaos.
Well, there are insinuations that this could be a secession move. Could this secession be true? I mean, given that it was carried out by just a handful of poorly armed individuals who were swiftly contained by security agents.
Now, the question you need to ask is that how were they able to even, because for me, I've always said it that security is about intelligence gathering. It's about prevention and not, it's about taking proactive action. What level of intelligence do the security agencies in Oyo State, have? You have the police, you have the DSS, you have the NDDC, you have various agencies of government in place, and they were not able to intercept this before it happened. That called to question the security architecture we have in Nigeria as a state. And I think that beyond these people being made to face the music, I think those that are in charge of security architecture in that state, both at the state level and the federal level, need to answer some questions. Because I can't imagine this happening. Like you pointed out, 20 ill-equipped, ill-informed people were able to penetrate the fences of Oyo State House of Assembly and the State Secretariat. It's not something that should happen where you have the security agencies on top of their game. But when such things happen, the next thing you see is that the security agencies and the top brass of the security agencies, they will appear before the media and they will say that we have everything, we are on top of the situation. You are not on top of the situation because there was an infraction. The infraction shouldn't even happen in the first instance.
Now, talking about security, what signal does this send, not just for your state, but as a country as a whole, when it comes to our security position, as a country?
Yeah, like I pointed it out, the security is about prevention. Security is about intelligence gathering. I think what we, in most cases, what we do is to take reactive action rather than proactive actions. What measures do we put in place to gather intelligence? These people, they didn't start planning that event on that Saturday. They must have planned that event. They must have organized. If you see some videos going on social, there is a particular woman who released a video saying that, well, this has come to stay, the Yoruba Nation, this is what they have been planning for, this is what they have been looking forward to. I think all this movement should, the security agents should be able to intercept this before it gets into the public domain. Otherwise, you'll be raising the tension within the larger society.
Just to follow your line of thought, you talked about, we having a reactive measures to issues of insecurity. What would then be a proactive measure in a case like this?
The proactive measure is for the intelligence community to have intercepted this. Probably these people, while they are planning stage, they were making phone calls. They must have made phone calls. They must have done recruitment. They must have shared some intelligence amongst themselves. How have we not been able to intercept such so that we arrest them even before they carry out that act? It's an insult. I mean, it is an insult to the entire headship of the state and the federal security architecture we have in Oyo State, that under their noses that is happening. It shouldn't have happened.
Now, let's talk about this issue of self-agitation for government. Why do you think we have such issue on the rise?
Well, there is a need for us to have a conversation. There's no doubt about that. If you situate this with what happened with the hip-hop, if you situate it with some of the hues and cries we are getting from the North with respect to whether they are satisfied with the present political arrangement or not, you understand that we still need to have a conversation of what constitutes the Nigerian nation. What form and what type of government do we want to run? And how do we want to resolve that question of what makes you to be a Nigerian in moving forward? Don't forget that, one, the Nigerian nation was imposed on us by the colonialists, despite the fact that some of our leaders, pre-colonial leaders, participated with the Ibadan Conference, the London Conference of 1958, the Ibadan Conference of 1959, which led to the independence. However, over time, the military intervention in our politics has brought about the citizenry not having a say in what, for example, the 1999 Constitution. Is it a constitution of we, the Nigerians? And we need to have that conversation. There is a need. We can't move away from the issue of what type of structure of government do we want to have? What type of system of government do we want to have? Do we want to run a parliamentary system of government? What form of representation do we want to have? We are running away from it. The longer we run away from it, the more the reality dawn on us that this issue, until you answer that question, I can tell you, these agitations will be on and on. There is no amount of rotation of presidency, either to the northwest, back to the southwest, or back to the southeast, that can solve that problem. Because we have not even resolved the Nigerian nation question. What makes us to be a Nigerian? Is it a constitution imposed on us by virtue of the military transiting to civilian administration in 1999? Or is it a conversation that Nigerians willingly participated in the process to say that, okay, this is the constitution that we've presented before Nigeria, and through a referendum or plebiscite, Nigerians said, okay, we have ratified this constitution, this should be the constitution which we need to move forward. Moving forward, I think we need to have a referendum, and I think we need to have a plebiscite.
Well, that's the most we can take on the news. Thank you so much for your insights. Jide Johnson, public affairs commentator. Thank you once again.
It's a pleasure to be with you.